Hey guys, welcome back to Conquering Kerbal Space Program. Our little guy here is making its burn still. If that sounds like, wow, I just ended the last episode and now it's still making a burn. Yep, it's still making a burn. You can't see the smoke. It's the graphics thing. Not sure. It's just not showing it right now. I'm willing to bet that if I quit the flight computer burn and then like reload the craft, then it started again, you'd probably see it, but that is doing its thing. So in about 10 meters per second more, we should have the encounter. There it is. And it is still burning for some reason. Okay, so that did not end the way it was supposed to. Not at all. Point retrograde, please. At least it maneuvers really well with that built-in reaction wheel. So at least there's that. Now if I burned retrograde, can I burn retrograde enough to bring this into an encounter? I can, but the periapsis is pretty bad. So let's keep going, keep going, keep going. That will do. That will do. So let's point prograde. That should get these solar panels to where they can milk up all that sweet, sweet sun. Yep. So we'll kill the rotation there. We'll make sure it stays there. And it will just do its thing now. There's nothing else we need to do. I really want to know how this thing is doing the data. Like, I want to know how to read this data. Can I see biome information now? I don't know. Maybe this thing is being launched off for nothing. Hold on, maybe I can do it through ScanSat. I bet that's probably it. Multi. Go to big map. So this will tell me this will show me the altimetry scan. If I go to map type, biome. Oh yeah, we can see biome information. We got something now. Cool. So this is highlands, water. Oh yeah, we can see all the biomes. That's good. So we will definitely be able to get a better idea of where we want to land in Minmus for this. We're gonna try to land on the borders between like several different biomes so that we don't have to hop very far to get all the science we want. Very, very cool. This thing is gonna come in handy for sure. Okay, here we are. Got like a little mini almost eclipse thing going on here. It's pretty cool. We have science data. We have 0.1 science. Yeah, not a whole lot. We are actually high above Kerbin now, though. We could do some high above Kerbin science and get that into the system. Let's close a bunch of these windows because I don't need them in my way. Flight computer is not necessary when I'm in a manned craft. I don't need Kerbal engineer right now, so we can get rid of that for now. Let's get some other stuff. Let's get some science. We'll get some crew report. We'll grab that, we'll pop that in there. I've never done a crew report from this high before, actually, so I could probably do another one. And this is already in there. The lab already has the data, so I'll just transmit it now. Pretty cool. Surprisingly that we're still in range. Yeah, we are barely in range. We're gonna get to the point where we can't transmit pretty soon though. So let's see if we can't do some other science while we're out here. How about a materials bay? We probably haven't done that yet. No, I want materials bay. Right there. That. Observe the materials bay. There we go. Yep. So we can put that in the lab. And then I'm gonna get a scientist out there. Might as well be you, Bobo. Might as well be you. And we'll just have him restore that experiment. Yep, still lagging. Not sure why. Because you have like 110 mods installed, Charlie. That's probably why. All right, there's that. Not sure why we're zooming in on the decoupler, but okay. Now I can do it again. Probably should have just left Bob out there. It's okay. So we'll go ahead and transmit that now. It gives us 37.5 science. Let's do the mystery goo while we're still here. I'm just gonna hit perform all science. Why not? So we'll put everything we can into the science lab. Get the magnetometer data. Put this in the science lab too. Anything else we can put in there? Interesting that the goo, I'm wondering if the goo is actually done right. I don't know. Oh, I didn't do our atmospheric thing. Oh man, I blew that, didn't I? I put this on here to analyze the atmosphere for that contract. It cost like 7,000 bucks and I didn't use it. All right, well, material study. You know what, we can't really do much with that in terms of transmission, so I'm just gonna keep it for now. And this one, I'm just gonna keep that one too. We don't need to transmit those. It's not a big deal. Okay, so in total then, our little mobile processing lab is able to generate 2.3 science per day on 175.98 data, which is great. And every single scientist in here is a 1-star. Everyone's a 1-star because of field research. That's why I have that mod. It makes total sense that they'd be able to perform at a 1-star level once they've got 1-star experience. They shouldn't have to come back to Kerbin to take a test on what they learned. That's just silly. Okay, so let's do time acceleration. All right, so I kind of figured it out. I blew the burn because of time acceleration being too fast again, or at least me being too fast with it. I've got us resituated with a new node that'll bring us 11K, or bring us in at just under 12K, which is really great because that's really great. But if we want to figure out where we're gonna land, if we're trying to figure out the best place to land, we probably don't want to be that close because we may not want to, maybe we don't want to land right on the equator. So let's actually bring us out to about here. This is what? It's 87, maybe even a little bit more. Oops, not too much though. Back in. 90, I want to go like 100. That's good, right there, 136. Let's do that instead. Here we go. And, ooh, look at that. We're at 124, I'll take it. I will take it. It's fairly on the equator, but not really. But that's all right. We can adjust our plane super easy once we're in Minmus's influence, so I'm not concerned about that. And if I do want to land in a specific spot that's not on the equator, having a little bit of an incline is a really good idea. So, okay. We'll turn smartass off. Okay, and we have a change in our sphere of influence. We are now in Minmus space with 7 Kerbals. Oh yeah. And a bunch of sunlight. There's Minmus. Hi Minmus. We have now 22 science. Look at that. So we were able to generate data through our mobile processing lab all the way out to Minmus. While we're on our way to Minmus, the scientists are at work and they have come up with 22 science. Very cool. Now we can give them even more because we can get science from around Minmus now, which is really great. So let's do a crew report. High over Minmus. Transfer the data into the capsule, into the mobile processing lab. I'm gonna call this the MPL. I'm just gonna say MPL from now on, MPL LG2, okay? Because mobile processing lab, I just can't remember it. MPL. So crew report, we'll go ahead and transmit that now. And And you're wondering, how can he transmit? Well, because I've got a satellite network around Minmus now, and my little antenna can see it. Let's get that out of the way. We'll do observe materials bay. We'll do the temperature, perform all sorts of science. So mystery goo, we're going to pop that in. We'll do the same thing for the material study, which is worth 235 science after I put 47 data in there. That's going to be a lot of science for that. Boom, done. That's going to be reset. We don't need that one. We can reset that one. This one is atmospheric pressure scan. Put that in. Yep. That one too. That one too. Okay, so we just logged a bunch of science in there. The mobile processing lab now can do 3.8 science per day with this amount of data. Very cool. Very powerful. Okay, so let's get our scientist out there. We'll choose a different one this time. We'll go with Ribley. Let's do Edbles. Edibles? I think it's actually pronounced edibles. Which is kind of dark if you think about it. Like, wow. I don't think he's really edible, but I'd like to think he's not anyway. Observe materials bay. Unless the Kerbals are cannibals of some kind. Take the data. Restore the experiment. There we go. Do not hit the antenna. We only have one of them. Maybe I should have put 2 antennas on here for redundancy. I don't know. Well, I have to log that data too. I forgot about that. All right, hold on. Whoop. Restore the experiment. Let's observe the mystery goo. And we'll take that data. Whoa. We're losing control of ourselves here on the EVA. Collect the data. Restore the experiment. There we go. Do not hit the solar panels. Is there anything else I have to do with this? I don't think so. Oh, you know what we could probably run? Is this thing. Let's run this thing. Almost got stabbed in the eye. We'll put this data in the mobile processing lab. Yep. Okay, and then we'll take the data out of this, store all the experiments, and then we're just going to work our way back around and get ourselves into the capsule. There we go. Okay, well this thing looks weird now, but we've got a bunch of stuff. Inside this, we can now generate 4 science per day around Minmus, which is pretty great. And I think we have some more experiments we can transfer in there. I want to know why all my windows constantly pop up underneath each other. Like no matter where I move them, they always pop up underneath another one. Review science data. Can't do that one. Can't do that one, or that one, or that one. Okay. When we get to the surface, that's when we really start getting science. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ourselves a little bit of time warp action. Bring ourselves right into Minmus. Whoa, not too fast now, Charlie. Easy on the time warp. Easy on the time warp. Easy does it now. You have a 68-second burn. And when we have the lights on in time warp, some funny things can happen. I'm going to turn the lights off because, yeah, it's weird. 6 minutes. The other probe is going to enter the sphere of influence right now. So that's good. We're not going to jump to the ship, though. We're going to burn this, and then we'll switch to that vessel. So 6 minutes to getting ourselves in orbit. Okay. So while these guys are burning, I'm actually going to transmit the science. So 24 science, we can transmit that data and it will deposit the science directly into our account. So now the lab has 0.169 science, 0.17. It can only transmit full units of science, so anything that's left over there, it doesn't like round it or anything. It just leaves it in there and it lets it accumulate again. So we are now in orbit of Minmus. Yes. Awesome. And this probe is on its way in. So let's go ahead and jump to that probe and get this thing into orbit now. Okay, so here's this satellite. Frame rate has been restored to good stuff because there's not a whole lot of parts here. There's Minmus. And so we need to get, ooh, this is gonna be going the wrong direction. But we can correct that. That's what we're here to do. 28 minutes is not. How about that instead? What I want to do then is I want to burn. I never remember which direction is which. Nope, wrong way. This way. Burn this way. Until it whips me around. Like that. And I end up orbiting in that direction. Now I do want to be a fair distance away from the planet to do the scan so it doesn't take so long. So let's actually come fairly far out if we can. I don't know what distance the scanner works from, but 58 or so delta V here doesn't seem like a whole lot to me. So we're gonna make that burn. And then, once that burn's complete, we'll then have another burn here at periapsis. It's about 214. We'll add this maneuver. You know, actually, I want to be in a polar orbit here. I don't want to be in equatorial orbit. I forgot about that. So this scan probably would work a lot better if we were in a polar orbit. So instead of doing that, let's go like from here. Let's go like this. Do I want to go this way or the other way? I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. So go this way like this. Now we'll end up being in a polar orbit. I want to be further away than that. So let's bring this down. Like, about like this. Let's go even further. Yeah, that's probably okay. So we'll bring this right down. About there. So we'll burn that node instead. I'm just gonna reset this just to make sure we're pointed at the right one. And then once we burn that node, then we will burn at periapsis, retrograde, and bring our orbit around so that we are orbiting Minmus in a polar orbit. And I think this won't take very long at all because the visibility cone of this little unit is pretty wide, and Minmus is, well, pretty minimal, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. Get ourselves to be about like this. Fairly circular orbit. That should be good enough. I don't think we need to get any further away or anything like that. So 46 meters per second of delta V. Let's just zoom ahead until the burn begins. Oh, before we do that though, I'm going to get the orbital telescope from high above Minmus. And as long as I'm facing the sun, which I'm not, you have to make sure you're facing the sun. Yep, that'll do it. The flight computer's been fighting me the whole time while I'm trying to rotate. And now I'll transmit. There we go. Oh, electric charge is draining, that's okay. Just slowly building up the power to complete the transmission. This is why we face the sun. You can see that the electric charge is being used faster than it can be replenished. That's because I'm trying to transmit. So the progress will continue to build as we consume electricity. I don't know how that system works. I would think the transmission should fail if I lose power during the transmission, but that's not how it works. It sort of like has to eat a certain amount of electricity, and it will just keep trying to feed until it gets the amount of electricity that it's supposed to have in order to be successful. Till we get to the node. Minmus is coming up underneath us, or above us. This might be one of our ships, maybe the satellite or something. It looks like it has a light on it. It's kind of interesting. You can see something like that up there. I'm wondering if that's our ship. It is. That is Minmus Science 1. Cool. Hello, Minmus Science 1, way over there. I just love that the game keeps track of that stuff. It shows it to you. It's just awesome. Okay, we can start our scan now. Might as well get started now. I can probably grab space high over Minmus. Didn't I already do this? I don't know why I'm getting more science for high over Minmus, but okay. Okay, it's an 80-second burn. So we are burning now. I know you can't really quite see it, but we're burning now. You can sort of see the light from the engine, from the fire that is supposed to be there. You can sort of see it flickering against off to here, which is pretty nice. That's another visual mod. It's called Engine Light. And it makes engines, the flames from engines emit actual light that bounces off and reflects off surfaces like it should. Very cool. Does it take more graphics power to render these things? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But I think it's just the little things that are worth it. To me, anyway. So we have a scan going up now. Multi-scanner. Which is going to scan the surface of Minmus for us. And tell us about the surface. I'm kind of thinking I should go a little wider. Because this cone, this visual cone, if you will, it gets wider the further out you go. So now I'm thinking if I burn prograde from here, I should be able to extend, if you will, our extend the range, or at least utilize the range that this thing has. So let's bring it up. Let's burn and bring our apoapsis up to like, I don't know, like, does 300 sound good? Something like that. Let's try 255 for now. And then at Apo, we'll do the same thing here. We'll burn prograde, whoops, until the apoapsis is about 250. Maybe we should maybe we'll just time warp ahead and do it. Because, I mean, our guys can just orbit for a while. I don't want to go too fast on the landing. I want to pick the landing spot really well. So we'll just do a one pass around Minmus here. And flight computer is slowing my time warp. I keep forgetting that that's what's doing it. I'm always like, why isn't this time warping? That would be why. Okay, so we'll burn again. Brings our burn out. And now we have a wider cone around the planet. So this will work better, I think. Just a little bit better. But it's enough. Okay, so here we go. Now, I could just sit around and let this scan, but I think if I go to my vessel, we have some near Minmus science we can do. So let's do that. Yeah, the camera's doing that thing again, where if I touch something, it does this. Very strange. While I'm pointing retrograde, let's check out a contracts. Yep, just have to test out another thing. Suborbital trajectory of Kerbin. Same kind of contracts I've been getting. I do get a little bit annoyed by the parts test contracts because there's so many of them, but at the same time, like, I really need the money. Like my account, the game right now, I have $1.2 million, and I haven't even landed a person on Minmus yet. And it's just because all these contracts just keep coming up, and I just keep doing them, which is the whole purpose. Is the reason why I got the contracts, is to help us with money, so that we don't run out of money in the late game. So as much as it kind of irritates me to have to do parts tests, I know that it's worth it. I know that that's the reason. I understand the reason why we're doing it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a short retrograde burn here. I'm gonna bring this periapsis into about, let's say, 30 something. You gotta get really close to get the near Minmus. Okay, let's try under 30. I don't know how, well, we have some time. Here we go. Okay, we're under 30 now. Under 30 now. Let's go crew report. In space near Minmus. There we go. Okay, so we'll go ahead and transmit that. I want to run all science experiments, so perform all science. There we go. Pop this stuff in there. Let's go ahead and transmit that. Pop that in there too. And observe the materials bay. And we'll go ahead and grab that into our materials study. And yep, we'll get that in there too. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah. I think that's pretty much everything. Now we need to get an EVA, so let's get Bob out again. We're going to do an EVA report. And we'll transmit that, which we have no comms vessel. We don't have any comms on ourselves, so I'm going to just simply take the data, store the experiment. We'll climb up here on the ladder this time. Restore this experiment. Observe materials bay. I'm actually observing it with my own eyes this time. Take the data. Restore. Okay. And now we can just go ahead and I don't want to hit any solar panels. So let's warp back to the vessel, hit U to turn the lights on, then get back to Bob. There we go. It didn't turn this. Yes, it did. Okay. All right. I just don't want to. I don't want to like run into something because I can't see it. Restore. Now we want to observe. Take it and collect it and restore it. Oh yeah, there we go. I think that's everything. So let's come back to here. We'll board. Then we'll take the data we have inside the crew cabin here. Keep that one, keep that one, keep that one. Let's put that one in. This is an EVA report. So we'll put that one in the lab. And then we'll get just Jebediah, I guess, to EVA. He'll do an EVA report. We'll board. And now with that EVA report, we'll take and No, it's this one here. EVA report. Yeah, here. For this one, we'll transmit it. Okay, I think we've done all the near Minmus science. There is this thing actually, which can give us a little bit more. We already did it with the satellite that passed by, but we can put it in our science bay, which is good. Our MPL. And I think that's pretty much it. So the science, our MPL now has 491 data. It's going to produce 6 science per day. And we currently have 5 science already saved up there. Look at the science go up. Now imagine like leaving these guys here for a year. Because that's what I plan to do. I plan to get up and go. Now they won't produce science as fast once we separate these crafts, because the science is going up because of how many scientists we have working on it. Everyone in the craft who's a scientist is helping out. At least I think that's how it works. And so because I have 5 scientists, it's going faster. But once I detach and I go home and I leave 3 scientists here, you know, that's going to affect it. But at the same time, I don't have to do any work. It's just going to accumulate in the background. And they're just going to stay in here and do their stuff. And, you know, they have a place to sleep and all that stuff. And then, you know, life support is going to keep them alive for over a year. So that is good. So let's take a look at our ScanSat and see if we can't get an accurate picture of what we can expect from Minmus. So this is Kerbin. Let's change it to Minmus. We'll get a biome map of Minmus. And that's pretty good. Not bad. We're kind of it's kind of going slanted, which is not a big deal, I guess, but so what it looks like is that this is greater flats here, which are good. Then we've got some, can I zoom in on this? Is it possible to just make this bigger? Let's make this bigger. Let's make it really big. I want to read it. Now, obviously, the top and bottom are considered the poles. That's kind of a given. This area here looks like it's called the greater flats, and I'm getting this information because it pops up down here when I hover my mouse over something. So you can see it poles, slopes, etc. So the idea is we want to land someplace where it's near a bunch of different ones. So even if it's a really small sliver, like this right here is a slope, but this is lowlands. But then if I move my mouse just a tiny bit, then we get midlands. See how that works? And so that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking to land in a spot that is going to be really great for like just hopping short distances to get a bunch of science. And then if we have to travel again to another place, it's much more efficient to just burn kind of like straight up and do like a quick little circularize of our burn really quick, let the planet rotate us around or whatever, and then come down again. So we don't have to hop around the whole time. We can just kind of get ourselves up and wait and then come back down in. So there's a bunch of different biomes here. I think the white areas count as slopes. No, the red. Okay, so the red is slopes. The tannish colored here, the brownish colored here is greater flats. Then we have flats. Then we have midlands. Then we have this little sliver of flats here with midlands around it. There's slopes, lowlands over here. This looks like a pretty good spot to land because there's a whole bunch of different biomes here. So if I could land on, like, say the greater flats, like right here on the edge, then I could just get the greater flats, then hop over quickly to the midlands. There's slopes in the middle of that, or between us there. And then there's Yeah, there's a bunch of different biomes. This looks like a pretty good place to land. I will look into landing there. And it's not that much inclined. This is our orbit right now, by the way. We're our path of travel, if you will, around the planet. And I'd have to just basically adjust my incline enough to where I can get in there. Now, what about this over here? What about this area over here? Right, let's see. How about right... how about right there? These looks like about the same. So I still think this is our best place, but I do want to wait until the whole place is scanned, because if there's a good place to go up by the poles, it might be worth it to go up there too. So, okay guys, well that's it for this episode. Just sort of giving you an idea what I'm looking for and what my plans are here. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're liking the series, let me know how you feel about it, and in the comments and stuff. And yeah, we're not quite landed at Minmus yet, but we are going to be, well, next episode we're going to land. I just don't know where that will be. So next episode our scan will be done and we will land and start kind of working our way around Minmus, hopping around getting some science. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching. Bye. Hey you guys, I know I just did a sound off for you guys and told you to have a nice day or whatever, but I want to show you something really quick before I leave, because I think it's kind of cool. I put this little surface altimetry scanner on this as well, and I had actually forgotten to turn it on, so I just went ahead and turned it on. And I'm gonna go to the map here real quick for ScanSat. You can see that we're getting altimetry data now, the black and white maps again, the low resolution altimetry data. Now if I take a look at the altimetry data, this tells me things like slope, inclination, you know, it lets me get a better familiarity with the actual terrain. It doesn't so much tell us about biomes, but the really cool part is how these two things are actually working together. So if I look at slope, we'll see the map will update, and this area here you'll start to see slope information for, which isn't all that impressive. It just sort of says, you know, it's 0 meters, or 1,000 meters or whatever high. But you'll notice that it also tells me, and I'm looking down here at the details, you'll also notice that it tells me how high it is. So this is 0 meters. This is the flattest surface you can get, the greater flats. But this right here is 1,000 meters up. And 500 meters up is here, and this is 1,000 meters and 500 meters up, and this is 2,000 meters here. And so it's starting to work together. So as I go to the biome information, if I really want to get a good idea of where I'm going to land, and also sort of the flatness of things, I can also see just how close, like how real low I am, and get a better idea that way too. So not only am I able to see the biomes, but I can also see elevation, because I turned on the altimetry scanner at the same time as the biome scanner. So that's pretty cool. I can really get a whole bunch, I really get to know Minmus very well this way, as well as other planets, because this is how I'm gonna have to scan planets to figure out where I wanna put my bases. I'm gonna have to figure out sort of the best, flattest, you know, areas. And then later on, if I had the technology, which I technically have the science to buy right now, I'll make a new version of this little probe, and I'm gonna send it to the moon. I'll have it do its round on Kerbin too, but I'll end up sending a new model of this thing to the other planets. It'll have an altimetry scanner on it, it'll have the biome scanner on it, and it will have the resource scanner on it, so I can also see minerals, or whether or not there's substrate around, because in order to do a 100% self-sufficient base, I have to have my base located on substrates. I have to be able to pull water out of the ground to offset all the other things that I'm losing, because without being able to gather resources from the planet that I'm on, I can't be 100% self-sufficient. So that's what I'm basically looking at here. I'm just waiting for this map to kind of complete itself so I can figure out the best place to land. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be over here, because I think this is probably the better place to go. And it might even go here just because it's like already on the slope that I'm already on. This is my orbit, but really I think this area here has all sorts of different, I mean, this is greater flats, but then this right here is just regular flats. And then this right here is midlands, but then there's lowlands over here, and there's the slopes right here. So there's a lot of different biomes right in this really small area, and I'm thinking that is where I want to land to start my science hopping. So anyway, see you next time. Thanks. Bye.